And welcome to PostGrad Movies presents Us on Halloween!
That worked out really well. Good job.
I'm so used to doing intros where we present something, but no! It is us just talking
Halloween.
to each other on Halloween! I'm dressed as Harry Potter. Can you hear this? Can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
That's candy in a bowl. Special trick-or-treat episode.
So I am Cool Guy, and that is the Cognitive Gamer, and he is on trick-or-treat duty. So during this episode...
I'm also hyped up on candy.
During this
Lots of
episode,
candy.
he'll just be walking out and giving candy to little kids every once in a while.
Hopefully, I haven't seen a single one. I have not seen a single child.
You might want to rephrase that.
For trick-or-treating.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hey, Cool Guy.
Yeah.
Trick-or-treat.
Halloween? I don't know. What? I can't...
That's not an answer. What?
It's not
No.
like who's there. I can't answer you.
No, well, either way, you're getting the same thing, and it's just an incriminating photo of myself on Snapchat or something.
That's gross.
It's both a trick and a treat.
I'm gonna argue that it is not a treat.
Depends who, depends who the receiving party is.
I don't think so. I think even your girlfriend would agree with me on that one.
Why would you want a picture of, like, my hairy arms or something? Or just my armpit? That'd be pretty great.
That sounds awful. Anyway, so...
Welcome, PostGrad Movies!
The podcast where we start and don't talk about movies for, like, half an hour.
We don't have time to do that.
Okay, anyway. Give me the quick and hopefully not dirty about what you did this week.
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay, what did I do? I haven't done anything this week.
Yeah.
Of, like, any value besides homework and... I saw movies. I started watching Sherlock.
Oh, yeah. And you were obviously kind of not impressed.
That's not true. I didn't like the second episode, but I just finished the fourth one, and I'm like, this isn't too bad.
Very nice. Well,
The only thing I said that was slightly bad about it was that Sherlock's humor does not amuse me, where he's just kind of like, I'm so much better than all of you. I'm walking out of the room, and I'm like, ugh, lame.
You just don't like people like that.
I don't think anybody does.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that the reason why he has so many followers is because girls kind of like an asshole. So, you know.
And we're not getting into that debate tonight.
Not all of them. But yeah. Anyway, anything else that you did?
Man, that was a buzzkill. What you just said. That's awful. I don't know. I played some video games.
Yeah.
Played some The Last of Us.
And killed in it. Literally.
Have you seen my video? I sent you my video.
I haven't downloaded it yet. I'm gonna download it as soon as we're done with this.
Point is, I played some video games. I studied for some statistics. I really haven't done anything. I played some Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, that's nice.
I haven't done anything. How about you?
I have not done anything either. I've basically, whenever I have...
Great podcast! We do nothing.
We both suck.
Oh.
We're doing nothing with our lives.
We're the most entertaining people on the internet currently. It's for sure.
So basically all I did was edit and upload a ton of videos for PostGrad Games, which you all should check out. You can find us on YouTube, of him playing and me playing and Cynic playing. And I kept learning French, and then I picked up a lot of stuff. Oh, I power washed a roof the other day. And I cut myself with the power washer.
I'm telling you, we're the most interesting people on the internet at this moment. You power washed a roof. How was that? Tell me in intricate detail, how was power washing a roof?
So when I was on the roof, it was kind of a liberating feeling. I really enjoyed it. And it lasted about 5 hours, and then I power washed it in lines, one and then the other, with about a 5-inch overlap so that it would wash correctly and I wouldn't miss any spots. And then the entire time afterwards, there was also some cleaning involved of scraping the roof to remove any imperfections so that they could be filled up later. It was an interesting bit of work that I really enjoyed.
I feel like the lamest psychologist or therapist right now, but it's like, that's interesting. Yeah, power washing. Somehow connected to your life.
Yep, that was it. There was really nothing special that I did.
Actually, the coolest thing I did was today, which was dress up for class, and I also chatted with Chris Nowinski. I think that's how you say his last name. I always screw that up, but he wrote head games about
Okay.
concussions and everything. He was skyping in my one of my advisor's classes.
That's pretty cool.
Chris Nowinski. So I met him today. He's pretty cool. He was a former WWE pro wrestler. Went to Harvard.
That's really awesome.
Hey, he's a cool guy. He's very down to earth. He's
Yeah. All right.
name drop.
Right. Name drop.
All out of the 10 people that listen to our podcast, 0 people got that name drop.
Right. Oh, wait. I know exactly what I did that'll be of specific interest to you. I started, or at least I watched the first episode of American Horror Story for the first time. Because it was suggested to me by, get this, one of our listeners.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it your mom?
No, it wasn't my mom.
Was it?
My mom
was it
would
somebody we
never.
know?
My mom would never ever suggest me to watch American Horror Story. Okay.
Well, at least your parent. I don't even know if your parents listen to it. If my parents listen to it, he'd be like, "Why are you doing that? It sucks. Why do you keep doing this podcast?" You're like, "I know, Dad. I know. I don't know."
God. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it was one of our listeners. It was one of my friends from high school, actually, which is pretty
so
cool.
it was a friend. Okay. Well.
And he said that he contacted me totally out of his own accord and said, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. Pretty good. Have you seen American Horror Story?" And then we started talking about series. And
was this on Facebook?
Yeah.
I totally.
Yeah, I tagged you on
it. I creeped on all of those.
Right. I tagged you on it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well then.
Yeah. So he informed me that he heard our episodes from the podcast. So yeah,
cool.
Pretty cool. We have a listener anyway. And another thing that I did this week was watch 12 Years a Slave. Bum bum.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. And we are going to go ahead and move into theaters now because 12 Years a Slave is what we will be talking about. 12 Years.
We need some music. We need some like music to go into.
I don't think so because I know what's gonna happen. You're gonna make the music yourself, and it's gonna suck.
Welcome to the movies.
Okay, so 12 Years a Slave on IMDb has an 8.2, Rotten Tomatoes a 96% with a 97% top critic score. On Metacritic, it's got a 96%, so it's doing really well. It's
a really great movie. But before we move into the seriousness, because it is a very serious movie,
right?
I saw this movie with Cynic.
Really?
Yes.
Oh boy.
It has become my personal mission to make him cultured.
Take him to movies.
That's one way of doing it. And he appreciates that he's getting cultured, but he doesn't appreciate that I'd take him to extremely emotional and depressing films.
I was going to say.
He was like crying the entire time.
It was a great first date, is what happened.
Funny. Yeah, it's really original as well.
So 12 Years a Slave was directed by Steve McQueen of Hunger and Shame fame. Ha! I rhymed it. It stars, I have no idea how to say his name, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Cumberbatch, Paul Giamatti, Michael Fassbender, Brad Pitt, among others. Those are the famous sort of cast. I feel really bad that I left out all the black people.
Yeah, I wrote a review for this movie, and the only one I can think of was the one that played, what's her name, Pats?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pats.
But I mean, that's kind of the thing, though. Unfortunately, the black cast has a few main characters, besides, of course, Solomon, the main character.
Right.
But none of them, stand out.
It's true, none of them stand out, but I think that was the point.
Or they're there on screen for like 5-minute snippets.
Right.
Which is the point.
It is definitely the point. So, with that out of the way, let's...
So who played...
What?
Patsy.
Who played
Patsy? Say her name.
I don't have her name, actually.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita. So it's Lupita Nyong'o. Okay, cool. Nope.
Oh, I have trick-or-treaters. Hold on. All right.
The first trick-or-treaters. And now we watch the cognitive gamer giving food to trick-or-treaters. It is natural habitat. He is really, really nice. But we know that when he comes back to the podcast, he will show a darker side.
What?
Let's observe.
I hear people talking. Hold on. Oh, there's more. There's more. I have more.
There's more.
Ring the doorbell, though.
Go for it. Yeah, make him ring the damn
I'm
doorbell.
totally not gonna ring the doorbell. All right, I'll just open the door. Good. How are you?
Say trick or treat. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hope have a great night.
You too. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Da-da-da. I wonder if they're confused by the fact that I'm using a colander as a bowl.
I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, so go ahead.
So 12 Years a Slave.
Let's start talking about it.
That was actually well timed.
It was.
It was a fantastic movie. It was the cinematography, its directing, its script was all masterful. The acting was superb. It was
really
almost
was.
like going to the movies and getting and having, fine dining.
Really rough fine dining.
Obviously, I mean the content was very visceral,
That it was.
depressing, but I mean it was beautiful.
It was.
Absolutely beautiful.
It was.
Every single shot was beautiful. The content, not so much. Obviously, it was
Right.
slavery and the brutality of human horrors. But I think that was the point, right? To make the movie look beautiful, but have the human horrors juxtaposed to this just gorgeous, gorgeous scene.
Right. No.
Like the scenery.
I completely agree, and I think that honestly, the person that definitely stood out for me acting wise was Michael Fassbender. Holy mother of God.
Right? He did such a great job playing.
Holy crap. Oh my God. The frame of mind that guy had to be in while he was that plantation owner was disgusting. It was,
Yeah.
dear God. I don't even.
Yeah.
He was remorseless. He was ruthless. It was. Oh my God. Dear Lord.
His range was great.
Wow. It blew me
Yeah.
away. It genuinely blew me away. He
Between
was.
him and and the great dynamic between him and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Ejiofor? Yeah, you're right. I can't say that. Chiwetel. I mean, those two were definitely at the top of their game,
Oh yeah. Oh, they
and
were.
they both should be nominated for awards,
God.
if not win.
It was just so impressive. And honestly, Chiwetel, he really stood out, at least for me. Not necessarily by his crying or anything like that, but he really stood out when he was just looking out and taking everything in. Taking all of the horrors and anything around him in. And then, he carried it throughout the entire movie up until the end. And then in the end, he just broke down. And that wins you Oscars. That wins you Oscars.
The scene when it wasn't Patsy, it was with the woman who was wailing about her children.
Yeah.
At the first plantation. That scene is so intense and so well done. Oh my God. That scene still blows me away, and it's been like 3 days since I saw this movie.
Really? That scene is the one that blows you away?
One of them. It's one of the scenes. It's really good.
It is really good. It is really good, but I would have to hand it to the final scene in the movie.
Yeah.
When he's.
I mean, it was good, but it wasn't.
I'm not saying that it's good because of the fact that he was crying or anything like that. What really struck me about the final scene was the fact that he kept on apologizing.
Yeah. That's true.
That the entire time he was saying, "I'm sorry to inconvenience you. I'm sorry to come back. I'm sorry about this and I'm sorry about that." And it was so hurtful because even when he went back to his normal life, it was almost as if he still belonged to someone in his own head, and that really hurt.
Yeah.
But
did you know Steve McQueen is in that scene?
Really?
Yeah, he's the husband with the baby.
Oh, these actors, it took me a while to recognize them. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Paul
Can
Giamatti,
I ask
not so
something?
much.
Were some of the cast from stage, were they in plays?
Were they in plays? I have no idea why.
Especially like I want to say most of the black cast that had speaking roles came from the stage because that's how their demeanor came off. Their acting style seemed more fit for stage,
right,
than it was for movies.
I could definitely.
Which I mean works with this type of movie because essentially Solomon was a vessel that went from person to person and collected their story. He was essentially a living journal.
Right. Right.
And I mean, it almost became like a documentary, or in the way that it feel as he was an interviewer interviewing people.
Exactly.
And the camera work really added to that feeling. But I guess going back to my main point, I felt that you can tell which people were in movies and which people were not in movies.
Right. Right. I completely agree. And you
What were
were
we talking about before that?
no idea.
The movie's great.
Yeah, the movie's great. But I have to hand it to what you were saying, the camera work, especially when it comes to storytelling, like you were also mentioning, especially in that scene when Patsy's getting whipped against the pole.
That was tough to watch.
It was tough to watch, especially
Cynic was buried into my shoulder.
that was
You couldn't watch it.
I mean, it was rough. It was really, really rough. And the fact that it was all one shot. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It was all one shot. And that is intense. That is insane. It just kept on going around and around and focusing on each of the characters individually and showing what the heck was going on, their faces, their expressions, pull focusing. That scene, the intricacy of that scene to make it work is ludicrous, and it was so good. It came out so well, and everything that it intended to do, it accomplished. Especially after when he was hitting her extra hard, and then the camera turned around and pointed at her back, and you just saw the lashes and the lacerations being formed on her back over and over and over again. Oh man.
Yeah, but going back to the camera work, I think it fit the mood though of it being very grounded. There weren't a lot of mechanical shots. Like there weren't a lot of dolly shots. There weren't a lot of crane shots. It was all from a standing position.
Right. It was all very personal.
Right. And Steve McQueen did that on purpose.
Of course.
To make it feel real, and he also wanted to make it look like paintings.
That's very true.
Like every scene, it could have been a painting.
It really could have, especially with the costumes and all of that stuff going on.
I listened to an interview with them afterwards, after I wrote a review and said all this.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, we wanted to make it look like a painting. I was like, nailed it. And he's like, yeah, I wanted to make it feel real. That's why you don't have a lot of intricate shots. I'm like, nailed it. Sorry, I get excited when I'm right. But yeah, I mean, it was very obvious they wanted to make it look almost documentary or painting-like, especially for the scene where he gets off the boat for the first time, and that just shows people on the street.
Right.
Like that, like it was lifted straight from a painting. Like they just took a painting and then turned that into film.
Yeah.
And speaking of that scene, Paul Giamatti.
Right.
Surprised? That was
surprising. I was surprised that he was there. I was completely surprised, and he was also he made a great racist. Heartless. He was heartless, completely cold. And the way he just treated all of the slaves that were with him, just exactly like you would trying to sell a lawnmower. This bad boy will do phenomenal. I mean, look at this. Look at these gears. Look at these gears. You aren't going to get them anywhere else. It was.
Do you sell a lot of lawnmowers?
No. Though Benedict Cumberbatch, he had a really strange Southern accent.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the best choice.
He was good at.
He went in and out of it. That was really weird.
He was good at playing a nice person for once. The nice guy, basically.
Pseudo nice guy. I mean, that was the point of him. He was like the nice slave owner.
Right.
Like, okay. Yeah.
He still treated them well, or as well as he could, or as well as he felt like they deserved. But, I mean, he did have Solomon's best interest at heart. He did. He really did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was phenomenal. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think about all of the shots of sunset? Because whenever there was some sort of a pause or a lull, and it was going to cut to another time, there was a sunset shot behind some trees, and it seemed offhandedly, I'm a zoology person, I'm not a biologist, but they look like willows. I'm also Puerto Rican. There's like no willows here, but they look like willow trees in the bogs. And every single time we saw sunsets, and I think that sort of shows. It helps show the passage of time, but a little bit deeper. It helps to show how Solomon tracked the passage of time, how he had to endure day after day is the idea of the metaphor behind it. And
Right.
and for a lot of the Native Americans, which were shown in the beginning sections of the film, who were
Oh, that scene was awesome.
it was a great scene, and it really reminded me of Grandmother Willow from Pocahontas, actually. How
I don't know if that's
Oh no,
okay.
I know. I'm just saying that it really reminded me whenever they had the willow with the sunset and stuff like that. The first thing I thought was Grandmother Willow and how basically the trees are the ones that keep your history, and the trees are the ones that look upon quietly to the people. And the trees are the ones that'll tell your story, which is way, way, way deeper than I think anyone intended. But, you know,
Film criticism lifted straight from the book of Disney.
you know,
That's
you know what they say, that it doesn't matter what the heck the author had in mind, it's what we take away from it. So I'm going to take that away from it.
I mean, I feel from like a cinematographer standpoint, it was to show that it was very, very pretty. That just because it was bad times does not mean that it was not
That
pretty.
there wasn't still beauty in there. Yeah.
Exactly. There's beauty in this world despite such
Atrocities.
ugliness. Yeah.
I think the bugs helped a lot too. The bugs sort of flying about and getting lit by the sun. It really made.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of nature shots.
Yeah, there were.
And like non-sequential or like non-important, like there's zero characters in there, just nature shots.
Just nature. Yep.
Which some movies do. And you know, what movie did that recently? It was Let the Right One In.
Yeah.
I feel also did that a lot. Just like non-important, beautiful nature shots.
Yeah, just
again, I feel to juxtapose the ugliness.
It's basically atmospherics, pretty much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And they really helped. And there was also a lot of, just like you said, of juxtaposition.
It was also a good time to catch your breath because everything was intense.
Right. Especially the hanging scene where they just left him hanging there for a day.
Oh, that cinematography was amazing. Like the mise en scène in that scene where it showed like the little kids playing in the background while he was just like gasping for breath.
And the people
so
slowly coming out and then continuing to work like if nothing's happening.
It was so powerful.
It really was.
That scene, I think, was like the pinnacle of storytelling, not done by an actor, but done directly via the
camera.
I mean, not done by an actor, done by the director, cinematography. Yeah, exactly. The mise en scène. So, mise en scène.
Yeah, it was done. It was done completely through the camera, and it was meant to force you to watch it. It was meant to force you to not be able to turn a blind eye to it. And this movie reveled in that. This movie reveled in just leaving. It's basically like the director took the camera, placed it in front of a slave area, pointing at something brutal happening, just left it there and said, "All right, boys, let's pack the rest of it up. Let's leave the camera here." And it just stayed there. And the cuts, you wanted them to happen. It got to the point where you wanted it to cut. You wanted it to be another scene, and it just wouldn't. It wouldn't. And those still shots would just last forever.
Yeah.
And I really felt it. You felt it. You felt like you had to live through the movie. You had to live through these 12 years with him.
But that's not to say that it isn't it's not a movie that drags.
Oh, definitely.
Because I felt it was actually very well paced.
It was.
It's weird to use this word, but I felt entertained the entire time. Or there wasn't an instance where I did not want to be watching that movie.
Right. It didn't lull. There weren't lulls in the action, and there weren't lulls in the story. And it didn't make you lose your attention, for attention span wise, is what I'm saying.
Unlike the movie we watched for our Netflix movie.
Do you want to head into that? But before we do,
if you want to say some final words about 12 Years a Slave, I mean, we're going to be talking about it again come award season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hands down.
That movie was fantastic. Now, would you go see it at a theater? I don't know. If you're strapped for cash, as we college kids often are, I'd maybe wait for the cheap theater. It's not when you have to watch on the big screen like Gravity was.
Right. I
feel like you can get the same emotional effect, say, on DVD.
Right, but you also need
or Blu-ray. I would definitely watch in Blu-ray.
You need to take into account the fact that you're going to be sitting in a drama movie, and it really helps to, if you actually want to take messages away from it and if you want to internalize it, to watch it in a place where you know that you won't have any interruptions. While I was watching this movie in the theater, get this, 2 cell phones rang, and then one of those cell phones rang twice. Oh,
That's like your biggest pet peeve,
oh
isn't it?
my God. It is so easy to silence your damn phone in the theater. Oh my God. And it rang with that
Yeah.
1800s, late 1800s phone style, the really, really loud clanking metal sound. Oh God. And it was awful because the woman was sitting 3 chairs to my left and 1 row back. So all of a sudden it rings once and she goes, "Oop!" And then she answers her stupid phone and actually talks in the theater. Everyone's telling her to be quiet, and she hangs up. And then 5 or 10 seconds later, the phone rings again and she goes, "Whoop!" And then answers it again. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh.
Also, before we move on, there is, I would like to bring up the race, but I feel like we should do it at a different time.
What about the race?
Just the fact that it didn't feel bogged down by white guilt.
That's
Like
true.
it wasn't. There was no blame. That's to say, obviously there was white people doing horrible things, but there was also white people doing good things.
And there was also black people that felt above other black people.
Right, doing horrible things.
Exactly.
It wasn't a movie about white people doing anything. It wasn't a movie about black people doing anything. It was about the decisions that people made in the setting of slavery, which of course is a race field topic.
Exactly.
But the fact is that there was no fingers being pointed. I mean, obviously it was white people that was doing the wrong thing via laws, but
there wasn't finger pointing. It was more of let's try and show all sides of what's going on, because it's not black and white. No pun intended. I didn't mean that.
I know.
It's not
Precisely.
a black and white
definitely
thing.
showed-
There's shades of gray, and you could see that in every single one of the characters.
Yeah, precisely. Like each one had a different story, had a different thing, had a different background, a different context,
motivations.
had different experiences with different people. I hate movies that
That pander
that are so clearly made for white guilt.
that pander to a specific type of emotion or
Right.
feeling.
It's a movie about black people that cater to a white audience by making them feel bad
right.
for being white.
Right. I completely agree.
And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I mean, I'm Latino and half Italian, and I think a small bit French Canadian. Point is,
We're not talking
you
about
know.
the French here. Don't worry about it.
but like I saw a play recently. It was Memphis, and by recently I mean like 6 months ago, or even
Nice.
more than that now.
Nice.
But anyway, Memphis is kind of like Hairspray,
Mhm.
but just terrible. Like it was essentially about being a white person trying to fit in with a black crowd, but then all the white people hating the white person and all the white people hating the black people. There was not a single good character in that movie that was like, we're both wrong. It was black people were flawless and white people were definitely the antagonist. And I hate those type of movies because that's not reality.
Exactly. It's ignoring.
And it just further perpetuates this culture where we can't get along.
Exactly. Yep.
Even if the message is, hey, we should get along. I mean, it further perpetuates that you can't be friends. And it's more of like, we should be frenemies instead of just enemies.
Exactly. Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah.
Right.
And something that really got to me also before we move on was the use of the N-word. Now, normally, I'm very comfortable with the use of the N-word. I don't say it myself, but
Well, I mean, from all the hardcore gangster rap.
Oh yeah, definitely. But if any comedian or if any of my black friends use it, I don't care. It really doesn't faze me. But there was something about the way it was used, not the word, but the way it was used.
It was used so hatefully.
It was. There was some stinging, vile disgustingness. It made you feel dirty and sick inside after you heard it every single time, and they kept on saying it over and over and over again, and it just got to you. It made you squirm every time they said it, and it really got to me. Which
is why I think nobody should say it. No matter, but
it was a way of saying the word that I think has been largely lost in our modern times, except for obviously a select amount of people or select areas that still use it in that way, but it's not nearly as powerful as it was back then. And this movie really, really brought it out with big guns. I don't know.
Well, brought out the whole thing. I mean, it was the people who hated, the people that was just filled with hate, that
seething hatred.
right. And again, I mean, this really gives cues to why this movie will be timeless. It'll be timeless not only because it's a fantastic movie and it does a lot of things right. It'll be timeless for the fact that it was a black director doing this movie, which it's quite rare, unfortunately, in Hollywood to have a black director.
That's not Tyler Perry.
That's not Tyler
And
Perry.
Everyone
That's
hates
not
Tyler Perry. I think Tyler Perry
what's
hates
his
Tyler
name?
Perry.
We're gonna get into Tyler. Tyler Perry's awful, and again, it perpetuates the whole. Anyway,
Right.
that's not the director of Boys in the Hood.
Exactly. Yeah.
The point is, there's not a lot of them,
Right.
especially at this level.
Yeah. You're completely right. And the fact that he came out of either short films or, relatively decent and passable and nice, maybe film festival winner, full-length films to make a movie like this.
He's also not American,
which
is interesting. To make a movie that good about America and not be American.
Exactly.
I mean, that could be the scriptwriter as well. But anyway.
But yeah, I think with that we're done. I would suggest, like Cog Game said, if you're going to watch it, obviously be prepared to watch a movie like this. It is a very long movie because it revels in the fact that he was there for a long time, and it drags on and it takes you with him. Drags on in the right way, not in the bad way. But what?
You know what movie drags?
Which one?
Pet Sematary. And I'm sorry for just cutting to it, but Cynic's here to talk about it with us.
Oh, Cynic's here.
Cynic watched it with us, so let me go get him.
Okay, go for it. So joining us, our surprise guest is Cynic25, our contributor to PostGrad Games over on YouTube.
Candy?
Eat candy, Cynic. But yeah, he's here to talk about Pet Sematary with us because you watched it, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the acting was incredibly cheesy, but
yeah, as somebody who doesn't watch a lot of movies, how was that movie?
The acting was incredibly cheesy, but the plot was pretty interesting.
Yeah, okay, it was intriguing.
Yeah. Okay, so
what do you think of the effects?
The effects?
Really bad effects. The really bad 80s effects.
Yeah, it's literally something out of the 80s.
Oh my god. Okay, so Pet Sematary on IMDb has a 6.4 rating, and on Rotten Tomatoes it's got a 45% with no top critics, so can't tell you that. And on Metacritic it's got no ratings, so I can't tell you that either. It is directed by Mary Lambert. It stars Dale Midkiff, Denise Crosby, Gwynne. So yeah, with someone like that. And I actually want to give you, Cog Games, a little bit of a fun fact. Actually, there's two fun facts that I think you'll enjoy. Mary Lambert directed, apart from Pet Sematary, she directed Pet Sematary 2, Halloween Town 2, and
oh my god, the Disney movie?
Yes, and wait for it, Mega Python versus Gatoroid.
Yes, that's the winner.
That right there. That is the winner. It is so good. Oh my god. I saw that and I thought, Cog Games is going to love that.
I think next week's movie.
And Dale Midkiff, who played Creed, the main husband guy, he's done a lot of TV ever since Pet Sematary, and totally relevant to our podcast, he was on the client list.
Oh my no!
He totally was. He was a client on the client list to Jennifer Love Hewitt.
It's a show on Lifetime where Jennifer Love Hewitt gives hand jobs to people. That's literally what the show's about. Like her being a masseuse that gives happy endings to customers
on TV.
Yes, on Lifetime.
That's great.
It's awful.
I can't believe how relevant this movie was to our podcast.
Relevant is a relative word.
It was so relevant. Okay, Cynic, we mentioned actually last podcast, I mentioned to Cog Games about...
I think like every show you have mentioned this stupid movie.
Because it is
I think you're just obsessed
with
Jennifer Love Hewitt grabbing junk.
It is so funny. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh man. Okay, anyway, let's get to talking about it. Did you like Pet Sematary?
Like is a strong word.
It kept me entertained for the entire length of time. So if that's a good indication, then it was decent. It kept me entertained.
horror movies have come a very long way since that movie.
They really have.
But honestly, it was the 80s, which is a weird time. They almost reveled in the fact that they had to cheesy effects.
Yeah.
They did.
It's almost like they were going so hard on the effects to detract from the fact that the acting sucked.
I think it was just supposed to be a bad movie. Like, a lot of 80 movies are kind of cult hits because they're bad.
That's true.
I mean, you can look at horror movies in the 70s, and they are quite effective. I mean, you have Halloween, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that was also 70s,
Right, all
correct?
the classics. And Carrie as well.
Right, yeah. And those are good movies, and they revolutionized the genre. And then you have this. You have Pet Sematary, which I'm sure is very frightening in book form, like most of Stephen King's works. But in the movie, it kind of had the feel of the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Are you
What?
seriously considering?
And the fact that it was just so
You're
bizarre.
comparing this to Super Mario?
Now, have you seen that movie?
I have seen it.
Oh,
and
it's
it was
so
really
bad.
Oh my god.
But like, as far as really cheesy effects, that's what it reminded me of.
Well, I think you're referring especially to the fact that when the kid jumped up from the top of the attic down to the guy and landed on his face.
It was totally fake, and he just throws him down the stairs.
Oh my god, it was. I just love how he went like like a little baby, and just like he was Supermaning the whole way down from the attic all the way to the guy's
With the
face.
scalpel. Oh. That was really bad.
And then all drunk baby right before he died.
Oh, that was horrible. That was actually really sad.
Oh my god. And the hanging,
This-
the hanging was god awful. The way that they hung themselves, or they were hung by other people.
Oh, are you talking about of the housekeeper that looked that whole scene was you could see the wires
you could
hanging
see
on
the
the-
wires, you could see everything. Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh my god.
We're frightened by this 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I
Fair
mean,
game.
yeah. I'm guessing they were.
I don't know.
Though admittedly, you know what was freaky? The sister of the wife.
That was terrifying.
She was mortifying.
Yeah.
It was really, really weird, and the way that they filmed her, because the rest of the film was done differently from the way that they filmed all of the scenes with the sister, because it was either close shots or really wide shots, and then she just walked from what appeared to be really far away, because that's the beauty of wide shots. You have a wide shot, and it pushes the background really far away, and the people seem really small when they're really far away, but they can walk towards the camera and grow really quickly. And that's what they did with that terrifying make-upped woman that looked like a ghoul.
Yeah.
And it was great. That was good. That was good. Scary. That was good. But everything else, the idea was cool, because it's
yeah.
Stephen King. So,
Yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
would expect a good idea.
Except for it being an Indian burial ground. I was like, ugh.
I mean, let's get real here.
Called it.
Called it.
That's what happens every time.
That ghosts check. Haunted Indian burial ground check. Okay.
We have a heart.
We have a horn.
I love that one Onion article that says something about recent results show that entire United States built upon ancient Indian burial ground.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Oh my god, that was great.
Okay, so our Netflix movie of the week, not yet sponsored by Netflix.
I got this. You stop
Yeah.
it. You stop it. You stop
Okay.
it. It's Netflix Movie
Okay.
Spotlight, totally not sponsored by Netflix yet. You really got to learn.
You just practice that in the mirror, don't you?
No, I don't. I just know it. It's what we call it. Come on. Come on.
I know.
Okay, so would you recommend this movie to anyone?
If you're watching just a string of horror movies on Netflix, I wouldn't mind this one slipping in.
All right.
That was poor choice, wasn't it?
Slip on, right?
If I was watching a marathon of horror movies, this one would fit in.
Too well.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it though.
That's true. What about you, Cynic?
Would you watch this movie? Would you suggest this movie to other people to
Oh
watch?
no, not at all.
No, you have better uses with your time.
Better uses indeed.
Okay.
Okay, so moving right along after that to new on DVD and Blu-ray and theaters. First DVD and Blu-ray, which is Monsters University, R.I.P.D. and Byzantium. I haven't seen
So-
Monsters University. I really want to see it. I didn't.
It's so good.
I know I didn't get the chance to.
Both of you need to go see this movie.
I didn't get that. You know what movie I did see though? R.I.P.D. You know what movie
That's-
I really thought that I should probably get my money back from? R.I.P.D.
Did you get your money back?
No. Hollywood took it and they won't give it back.
I think you could go to the theater and just be like, that movie was abysmal. That movie was so
Maybe
bad.
if you had enough support,
Yeah.
you would have to rally a crowd.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, and then tear the theater down and steal it.
It's Puerto Rico.
Right. I mean, that happens all the time. But yeah, the other movie is Byzantium, which is that one movie about that was actually recommended to me by some people, and it's about vampires, and apparently it's pretty good. So I guess I'll have to check it out at some point.
I don't know. Is it a pseudo Twilight
I
sequel?
don't know. No, it's not. Not at all.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, new to theaters, on the other hand, we have Las Vegas Freebirds, Ender's Game, Mr. Nobody, and Man of Tai Chi. The ones in that I'm excited for are Ender's Game, Mr. Nobody, and Man of Tai Chi.
So not the stupid Las Vegas movie or the stupid Turkey movie.
Exactly. None of those. With cranberry sauce.
That's actually really funny.
Oh, we just see Ender's Game this weekend?
Yeah, I want to go see Ender's Game this weekend.
No? Should we watch it and then talk about it next week?
Yeah, that is exactly what we should do.
Awesome. Ender's Game. All right. But yeah, so I'm excited for Ender's Game. As of right now, it's got some good ratings.
Did you read the book?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Have you read the book?
Well, I have not.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I don't think anybody of us.
No.
Have you read the book?
No, I haven't
You haven't read the book.
I haven't
So
read the book.
it was the the hot thing in like middle school.
It'll be fun. Well, we'll see what we think of it next week. Though I
Okay.
am excited for Man of Tai Chi and Mr. Nobody, because Mr. Nobody is the story of a guy that falls in love with a comatose patient because they hook them up, and he's able to go inside to try and get her out, but instead he falls in love with her. And it stars Jared Leto, who's in a lot of movies now.
Huh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And the other movie is
Man of Tai Chi.
Oh, that's the Keanu Reeves movie,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like my sword?
Oh, wow.
Oh, he actually did bring a sword. We have a pirate here. We're actually recording this.
Oh man.
I know.
Arr!
This is great. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
This is awful.
Anyway, all right.
Okay.
So let's get to news and then wrap this up.
Yes. So moving on to the news, we have first and foremost the X-Men Days of Future Past trailer, which was released, and it blew me away. It legitimately,
That trailer looks amazing.
it legitimately blew me away.
Have you seen the X-Men trailer?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
So
I
good.
can't
It
wait.
looks great.
Yeah.
It was so smart of them to be like, let's send our most popular character back to our most popular movie.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. All right. Anyway, so moving on from that amount of awesome, if you want to check out the trailer, it's on YouTube all over the place. We have the Prometheus 2 script is written.
God,
You shut up. I really enjoyed.
that movie was
I
terrible.
enjoyed Prometheus. I enjoyed
because it was pretty, but it wasn't a good
no,
movie.
I thoroughly enjoyed Prometheus. I did. I
Ugh.
legitimately did. Anyway, I included
It was so
included that so that we could yell at each other a little bit, which we just did.
Pirate.
Pirate.
Have you seen Prometheus?
No.
No, don't watch it. It's terrible.
You should watch it if you're ready for it. Okay, so anyway, the next bit of awesome news is that the Deadpool movie has kept on going,
That's great.
which is pretty cool. I'm interested. I'm interested. Color me intrigued. I would like to see what they do with Deadpool. Anyway, this one is a little.
Is Ryan Reynolds playing him?
I hope not,
I think he is.
and I hope not.
Ryan Reynolds wasn't bad in
Ryan
Oh my God,
Reynolds
he
was
was-
awful.
No.
He is so bad. He is so bad. So bad. No, wait a second. Let me express myself. He is so bad.
Oh, he was great in The Proposal. I love that movie.
Yeah.
He was terrible in Deadpool though, or Wolverine Origins. But that movie was a
Not
mess.
just that, he was also terrible in Green Lantern, and Green Lantern was terrible.
I refuse to see Green Lantern.
Good,
I do too.
good.
I should probably watch
Don't
it.
do it. No, it's not worth it.
Oh, you want to know some news
Yes.
that's really relevant to this podcast?
Yes.
28 weeks later, director
Uh-huh.
for Pet Cemetery remake.
What?
Yep.
Really?
Posted an hour and a half ago on IGN.com.
How ironic.
Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, whatever, is now in talks to return to the horror genre for Paramount's Pet Cemetery remake.
That is Pet Cemetery has ended up being the most relevant movie we've talked about on this podcast. It is relevant on so many
That's true.
levels. So many levels. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Moving on, there is the Evil Dead 2 is on, and Fede Alvarez is still attached. So it is also an ongoing project, and I'm sure that we're all excited to see more limbs being cut off.
I never saw Army of Darkness.
It wasn't bad. I liked it.
Yeah, I should
Right.
probably watch it.
Also, Kick-Ass's Taylor Johnson, the main guy from Kick-Ass, is to play Quicksilver in Avengers: The Age of Ultron, which is interesting. We'll see how he plays that.
I think that's a good choice.
Yeah,
I personally think if they're gonna have Quicksilver in the X-Men, they should also have the same guy in the Avengers. That's my personal opinion.
I think they will, though, right?
I hope
Like,
so.
The way they're talking about it now, they're unsure.
Well, I guess they've always been kind of a separate universe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still say have the same.
Well,
person.
movie-wise, they've been a separate universe, but comic book-wise, hell no.
Well, yeah, that's what
Yes,
that's
I
what I
agree
mean in
with
movie.
that.
In movie land, cool guy, movie land.
Right. Okay.
Oh, and Olympus Has Fallen sequel's coming out.
Yep. The Olympus Has Fallen
That's too
sequel
bad.
is going to destroy London. That's the other bit of news that I have.
Ugh.
And that sounds awful. Don't watch it. Anyway,
Did you see the first one?
no, it looked awful.
Neither did I. I really feel bad talking about a movie I haven't seen, but
It looked awful.
man, yeah.
Anyway, the last bit of news is that the Star Wars number 7, 2015 release date is actually pressuring the crew that's trying to deliver it because they're saying that they don't want to move forward on production when the script is not ready for the limelight, and they don't believe that the script is ready, especially after changing people, writers and stuff like that. So hopefully they're able to push back, because the producer asked to move the date a little bit farther away so that they could really put good work into it. But Disney's CEO is staying strong to that release date, and I kind of don't like that.
Yeah, but I get where he's coming from, which is a standpoint of money.
But still, it's not.
No, I mean, it's totally unjustified, and they want to deliver an amazing Star Wars movie.
I mean, if the guy wants more money, he should be willing to push back a release date and make more money because you make a better movie.
Yeah, but they have this whole thing where they release the movie, then they release a ride and toys, and then the next year they have another Star Wars movie, and then so on and so forth until they have all the money in the world.
But it's not going to work that way if they disenfranchise all of the people that are really, really hoping for a good movie here.
Really? Do you think that's going to happen? Did you not see Episode 1? And how many people are still in love with Star Wars?
I think it might happen because a lot of people have gotten their hopes up after Episode 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's terrible.
Episode 1 was the best out of 1, 2.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Oh, wait. We
No!
just dropped a bombshell right at the end.
How? Oh,
Liam Neeson is in it.
this is a good enough excuse.
It's awesome.
So was Jar Jar Binks. He was terrible.
Hey, COG Games. And on that bombshell, we will end the podcast.
No, I was going to talk about Veronica Mars.
The movie that was kickstarted?
Yeah, it's totally almost out.
That's pretty cool. When's it coming out?
I don't know.
Wow, thank you for that. Anyway,
It's coming out in 2014.
screw you. Anyway,
That's all I know.
on the bombshell of the Cognitive Gamer's friend thinking that Star Wars Episode 1 is the best out of the prequel trilogy, we will end the podcast.
Did you hear that vitriolic remark? It was just like, you like that movie? Oh, I know, we judge people far too often for the movie. I know. But did you
Hey.
like Jar Jar Binks?
No.
No, you haven't even seen the movies. It's almost worse.
Liam Neeson. Enough said.
I love Liam Neeson. Don't get me wrong.
Enough said.
Not enough to just.
Hey, we are done. We will not get into this in the podcast because it'll take another 2 hours or more.
Darth Maul was awesome. I could admit that. But
On more. No,
terrible.
we're done. Everybody, we will see you again next week. You can find us on Twitter or email us, postgradentertainment@gmail.com. You can find him on Twitter, Cognitive Gamer, or me, The Right Pad. We
How
will.
about you?
Oh, and Cynic.
What are you doing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon games?
Yeah.
You don't have Twitter?
No,
don't have the Twits?
I don't have a Twitter.
You should probably get on that.
Cynic25 doesn't have a Twitter, but you can find him on our YouTube channel at PostGrad Games. So search for us on YouTube. We will see you next week.